So I'm going to tell y'all a story. And honestly, the fact that this story is even a thing it still blows mine because how is this real life? But in order to tell the story, I have to start at the beginning. So in February of 2023, my now husband, then fiance, and I broke up. It was my fault. I had joined a motorcycle club and I was outside. I had got myself a little biker boo, and we tried to work through it for some time. But I think at that point in time, I kind of checked out of the relationship. Now, granted, I had no intention of ever leaving my fiance for the biker boo, but at the time, I was enjoying having my cake and eating it too. And yeah, we tried. We definitely put up with a lot during that time. I had broken my leg, and I, Mm. I think that's when I should have really known that he was a keeper. Like, I couldn't walk, and this man had to care for me after just being informed of my whole side relationship, and he was there for me. Like, we didn't even know if I would walk. I wasn't walking for months, and he took care of me. And it was hard for him because in this moment, he's supposed to be mad at me. I'm upset with you, and yet I needed him. Trailing off topic though, but long story short, come February of 2023, obviously I was back on my feet and everything. Um, he left. It was hard for everybody involved because we were together for 5 years at that point, and he just couldn't do it. He pretty much said that everything I was doing and saying at that time was something he had been begging me to do and say for that whole year that we were trying to work through it, and it was too late. So he left. Um, and he went and got himself a girlfriend. So, I mean, like we talked briefly from time to time, more so in that first month, obviously, because he told me about the girlfriend and, you know, um, but nothing too crazy. We didn't really have much conversation after those first few weeks, just little random pop ups here and there. It wasn't until around August, so about 6, 7 months later, um, in August, where we really started to talk again. I noticed he was still watching my stories on Facebook. Now, interesting thing about my husband is, and he's always been this way, he's the type of person that when your relationship ends, he blocks you because for him, there's no need to continue that chapter is done. So there's nothing for us to really, whether it ended good, bad, or indifferent, he'll block you. So I guess that was like the first thing that kind of gave me even the slightest level of hope is that I wasn't blocked. Um, but that might have been the only thing that really gave me hope. Because, yeah, I thought we were done. When I say my whole world blew up, like I thought we were done. I really thought I had just ruined the best thing that ever happened to me because that man is amazing. Um, but yeah, I thought we were done. But then I noticed he was watching my Facebook stories. So I started to post stories just for him. No, they weren't nudes or anything like that. But the one specifically that I would say kind of reeled everything in. Usher's "Good Good" song had just came out. The whole "I Hate That We Didn't Make It to Forever" song, and I had posted a video of me lip syncing it to while I was sitting in the car, and I set my settings for only him. So he was the only person that could see my stories during this time because they were for him. And he inboxed me about it, and we were just talking about the song and how it kind of correlated to what we had going on. And he had asked me pretty much, genuinely, do you think you were ready for the kind of relationship that we were trying to have at that time? And I, to be honest, I wasn't. because I was still trying to have my cake and eat it too. You know, I think I needed to lose him in order to know that, like, yeah, there was nothing else out there that was gonna beat him, because I definitely dibbled and dabbled in his absence. Like while he was gone in his relationship, I played. You know, I wasn't trying to be in a relationship with anybody at that time, but I was dibbling and dabbling, and yeah, ultimately they weren't him. So we started a small talk, and that is when it pretty much came out that like we had intent to be together again. We had pretty much just said like, you know, maybe one day in the future, right place, right time, we cross paths again, and we'll see type stuff. I don't want to curse on this thing. Um, that lasted a couple of days because we eventually just decided we were going to get back together. So fortunately, this recoupling was not as simple as I had hoped it would be. Because when my husband had moved out in February and moved back to his mother's house, shortly after, the new girlfriend, who we're going to call Connie, moved into my mother in law's house as well. Apparently, something happened with Connie's original residential situation where her friend wasn't covering their portion of the rent and covering their portion of their shared car. So Connie got evicted and the car got repoed. So she was not only living at my mother in law's house currently with my husband, but she was also sharing his car to get to and from work. Nonetheless, we had made a decision to get back together. So he still needed to tell it. Um, he pretty much told her he wanted his family back, and he apologized for, rebounding her, which she probably should have already known, being that when she started talking to him in February, he had a whole fiance and family. Um, which is why she assumed by "I want my family back," he meant he wanted to be back in my daughter's life. He wanted my daughter to be acclimated into their situation. Um, I have a daughter from my prior marriage that my husband had raised since she was 4 years old. So at this time in the story, she's 9. Um, so Connie took that as okay, if you want Pumpkin to be, in your life, we just have to set some boundaries with Moniece. So he had to clarify, like, no, I don't just want Pumpkin back in my life. I want Pumpkin and Mo. Like they're a package deal. I want my whole family back. Within 24 hours of him telling her that he wanted his family back, she tells him she's pregnant. Now, I'm not unreasonable. Y'all having sex, y'all having unprotected sex. The possibility of pregnancy is there. The timing is a little suspect. He just told you yesterday that he wants to get back with me. Now you're pregnant. Suspect, but not impossible. It would break my little heart because can you imagine being with someone for 5 years? We don't have any biological children together. He has no biological children at this point. And we break up. You guys get together for a few months, and he comes back, and now there's a potential baby. Like, I would be crushed. But I just took this as it's my karma because I messed up. I did it. So this is if I'm gonna choose to be with him, which I was, I told myself long before this happened, if he ever gave me another chance and came back, I'm taking it. I learned my lesson. I was crushed when that man left me. So I'm already practicing my stepmom voice, like, hey, what'd your dad say? You know? She swore up and down at the moment she told him that she was pregnant, he was gonna decide that they were gonna stay together now. Cool. You're pregnant. I'm still going to be with Mo. And Mo's gonna need you to pee on a stick. So it looks like we're about to hit the 10-minute mark. So apparently there's gonna be a part two. I'm sorry, I had to step out. I should have been a little more specific. I should have said, babe, buy a test, open the test, make her pee on a stick. But I wasn't, and that's okay. I wasn't there when the whole thing happened, but he says he did see her pee on the stick, and it's positive. Y'all still gonna have to go to the doctors because someone in a white coat needs to tell me. Because now, granted, it works out in my favor if this is not a situation we have to really deal with. If there's no actual baby, then y'all little couple of months together would just be a blimp in time in all the umpteen years that I already see us together. So it would just be something we could look back on, like, oh, remember when, you know. But if there is in fact a baby, then we have to handle that accordingly. There's going to be a baby. Like, she was not having it. Like, that weekend, so I want to say, like, they scheduled the appointment for that following Tuesday. She's off on the weekend, so she didn't need the car. So he stayed with me for the weekend. She's blown up his phone. Blown up his phone. Oh, your balls deep in the next, bitch. I said I wasn't gonna curse. Sorry. I'm your family, and me and your baby are here, and all this other stuff. Blah blah blah. Moniece and Pumpkin are not your family. You're delusional. All this stuff. It's been like 3 days since we found out she was allegedly pregnant. But she is going in. Like, I don't know what she thought this pregnancy was gonna look like, but y'all are not together. Like, at this point, we were engaged when you met him or when you started talking to him. So we're still getting married. Like, we're all going to be co-parenting at this point because she made it very clear that she's keeping her baby, which is fine. That is your decision. And he made it very clear that he's still going to marry me. So she didn't, like, it was a whole, like, oh, well, what kind of woman wants to be with a man that's having a baby? What kind of woman wants to take care of the next woman's child? Sweetie, you're welcome. I'm confused. A woman that made a very conscious decision that should he ever come back and give her a second chance, she's taking it. So if this is what it came with, this is the situation we are potentially in, then okay. But I definitely wasn't going to run away at the possibility of a baby. Like, we need a doctor to tell us otherwise. So, that Tuesday, they went to the doctors. Now, mind you, okay, I skipped a part. She had started bleeding. I want to say maybe that Thursday. The doctor's appointment was Tuesday, so she had been bleeding this entire time. Of course, she blames that on him because he's stressing her out. Everything that happens negatively during his pregnancy is his fault. This man is letting you stay at his mom's house, drive his vehicle, but he's stressing you out. Because she asked him, do you want me to go through with the pregnancy? And he was honest. He said, if you're asking me what I personally would like, no, I would not like you to go through with the pregnancy because we're not going to be together, which means our kid's going to grow up in a broken home. And that's something he's never wanted. That's why he's made it to, how old was he at the time? 30 years old without having kids because he was being very selective about who he chose to have a child with because he didn't want to have a broken home situation. I don't want to be a part-time father. I want to be there to raise my children. I'm not doing the weekend dad thing. And in this specific situation, it would be a deliberate weekend dad thing because we're not together. So he let it be known. If you're asking me, no, I would not like you to go through with it. But it is your decision. Rightfully so, it is your decision. And if you choose to go through with it, then I will be there for my child. This is exactly what he told her. She took that in this moment and later on in the future. She took that as, you wish death on my baby. Okay. So they go to the doctors on Tuesday. She had still been bleeding this whole time, and the doctor's saying they're not seeing anything in her uterus. But her, what are they, the HCG levels were going up or were elevated. So it, to imply it could be a pregnancy. But they're not seeing anything, and it's still early, But also she has fibroids. So all of this plays a part in the uncertainty that we're all going through right now of not having a clear, yes, she's pregnant, no, she's not. But the fact that she had been bleeding since she took the test, the doctor's saying, look, there's nothing in your uterus. We'll retest like in a couple of days or something like that, but to see if the blood levels are continuing to elevate. Yeah. So A couple of days go by. They go back to the doctors, and same thing. Nothing in the uterus. Blood levels are rising. They're not sure, but they said the fact that she had been bleeding this whole time, like 10, 11 days straight, it's very likely that she's either miscarrying or it's an ectopic pregnancy. Either way, ectopic pregnancy, miscarriage, not a baby. There would be no viable baby coming from this. Okay. Now, in this time frame, we had a whole routine set up. His job was about 4 minutes away from my house. She worked weekends. I'm sorry, she worked nights, overnights. I, at the time, was also working overnights because I had a second job because when he left, it was Horde and I had to go get a second job. So she and I both worked overnights. I also had my day job, and then he worked during the day. And they were still both actively staying at my mother in law's house and sharing a car. So what we had in motion was he would go to work in the morning with the car. After work around 4 or 5 o'clock, he would come to my house and spend time with his family. And then around 10:30 p.m. when I needed to get ready for work and Connie would have been needing to go to work, he would go to his mom's house, give her the car. He'd stay at the mom's house. She'd be at work. I'd be at work. Cool. And on weekends when he was off of work, he was just at my house. But this night, Connie goes to work and then she comes back like an hour or two later. He calls me at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he is livid. I've been with this man at this point, 5 years? I had never seen him or heard him speak about or to a person like this. Even when we broke up, it wasn't anger. If anything, it was more tears. It was sad because he didn't really want to leave, but he didn't feel appreciated. So he left. Understandable. But in this moment, he was livid. Babe, what happened? Apparently, she came home and she went to the bed. So he moved to the living room. And I don't know if at first she thought maybe he was just going to the living room to watch TV or whatever the case may be. It wasn't until he texted her to say, hey, can you bring me the extra blankets that are in the room, that she realized, oh, you're not sleeping in the bed with me. It's almost been a little over a week at this point that he has not slept in the bed with you. So I'm confused. He made it very clear, you guys are not together anymore, So she came into the living room after punching a hole in the wall. Not your house, by the way. Mother-in-law's house, not your house. You're punching holes in the walls. But after punching the holes in the walls, she's threatening to slice his throat, burn his mother's house down, all types of crazy crap. Because how dare you disrespect me and I'm carrying your baby and you're not sleeping in the bed with me? Now, mind you, we had just been informed by your doctor that it is very likely you are miscarrying or having an ectopic pregnancy. But you were still talking about this baby as if it is an actual baby. So that alone kind of already was a red flag. Okay, there's something maybe, I don't know, in this moment she's not thinking straight. I don't know. But he's pretty much said after all of this, after going off or whatever, she took the keys to his car and she left. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know where you're going, but whatever. So she left. And he's just pretty much explaining this to me. I'm at work, my AirPods in, just listening to what happened. And then she pulls up in the driveway. And in that moment, I hear her come inside. I hear she starts talking. And then the call drops. So I call back. Somebody answered, or Pocket answered. I don't actually know because no one spoke directly to me when the call was answered. The call was answered and all I could hear is Connie talking. And at first it was just a lot of aggression. Oh, you effing this and she's a this and all of this that I've done for you, and you're going to turn your back on your family. You're a deadbeat just like your dad. You're no better than your dad. She was hitting all the trigger points because just trying to get under his skin. Just saying a whole bunch of crap. She doesn't love you. She'll never love you. She's just going to cheat on you and keep cheating on you. And everything that we had together, and they're not your family, and you're delusional if you think that they're your family. I'm your family. Our baby is your family. Everything was just it was just a whole thing. And as I'm listening to it, I'm just okay, he has not said a word. Not one word. this whole time. I kid you not when I say I was on the phone listening for an hour. Towards the end of the call, the whole tone changed. Like, it went from all of this anger and aggression and like just straight like trying to tear someone down to, but I love you and I'm willing to forgive you and we can be a big happy family. And it was the whole tone change. And it was real interesting to me that you even thought to say, like, but I'm willing to forgive you, as if one, he had done anything, or as if you had broken up with him and he was just going to take you back because you forgave him. Like, he made a decision to not be with you anymore and you're willing to forgive him. Anyway, the whole mood changed and it was a little, I don't know, it was given bipolar. Like, the way it just flipped like that, it was like a lot of anger and aggression, and then it flipped straight to, but I love you and we can make this work and we can be a family and all of this stuff. Now, thankfully, his younger brother lived in the attached studio apartment that was attached to the house. And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. But I'm texting his brother, like, I need you to go next door and check on your brother. Because I've been sitting on the phone for a whole hour now, and he has not said one word. I don't know if he's like bleeding out on the floor and she's just I don't even know what she left to go do when she left before she came back. You know, like, I don't know what's happening right now, but it's making me a little nervous because there's been a lot of red flags thrown in this conversation. Like, clearly she's not in her right state of mind right now. So I text his brother or whatever to go check on him and stuff. But then after an hour of this, I hear him speak. And he pretty much just said something along the lines of like, look, I'm going to head out. Clearly us being around each other is just not, you know, it's not helpful or anything. It's just feeling really toxic, and just to give you your space or whatever the case may be. And, you know, he told her she could like keep the car for now and stuff. And he's just going to, you know, remove himself from the situation for a moment. He finally gets back on the phone, and that's when I realized, like, okay, like, you know I'm on the phone, right? He's like, no, I know. I answered the phone intentionally, God forbid. He's like, because the way she was speaking, it didn't seem like she was in her right state of mind. Like, she was really talking about, like, we had just been informed that this is not a viable pregnancy, but she was really still referring to it as, like, we're going to have a baby. So it was a little, you know, it made you feel a little uneasy. So he noticed that, and he figured, at least if I sit on the phone with someone, something happens, God forbid, whatever. So at this point, like I said, it's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. He has walked out the house to go for a walk, and I'm like, I'm coming to pick you up. So I left work, and I'm like, yeah, I told him, like, I gotta go, because I gotta go. So I went to go pick him up, and that day he officially moved back into my house. And I worked from home, so I pretty much was just like, look, I don't use my car like that. If you're gonna let her hold your car down for a little bit, you can have my car for now to go to and from work and stuff, whatever, and we'll just deal with whatever that is when the time comes. Because she was under the impression that, oh, you know, you are supposed to be taking care of me and all of this stuff for me, and I'm your responsibility, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, one day she's like texting him like, oh, I'm hungry, blah, blah, blah. You are a grown woman with a good job. Like, if I'm not mistaken, she was like a biochemist or something. Like, you older than both of us. Why you can't feed yourself? You're living in this house without paying rent. And she had been for a duration of time, because since she moved in, she was never paying any bills there. So you've had 6 to 7 months of your own money to yourself. It's time for you to find some wheels and a place to stay. So we had asked her, like, you know, how much time do you think you're going to need before you can move on, you know, get your own place or whatever the case may be? And she was just like, I don't know, maybe like by this time next year. Excuse me? Y'all weren't even together for a year. You think you're going to stay in his mom's house rent free for a year? No. We gave her about 2 to 3 months. That is about, what, 2, 4, 6, about 6 to 7, 8 paychecks, depending on if it's like a 3-month pay period type thing. Yeah. All your money. Because you don't got to pay for the car because it's his. And you ain't paying for where you're staying. So all of your money is your money. All you got to do is feed yourself. and find a place and your own car. So we gave her that time frame. Obviously, there was a doctor's appointment coming up. And this appointment was supposed to be the appointment. This was going to be the appointment that told us everything. Like, this was going to be the full confirmation. It was like a good month after everything happened. So that way we would know for a fact if there, because then she started telling us that maybe the baby was not visible because it was behind her fibroids and whatever, all this other stuff. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. So lo and behold, we're still going with she's actively carrying a baby, because the next appointment she went to, the doctor said her levels are still rising. So, yeah. We had already told her, again, time frame. This is the time frame you need to be out by. We got to, get the ball moving on this whole transitioning, whatever case. Initially, because at the time, our original plan before we split was that his mom was going to rent out, it's a 3-bedroom house with a studio attached. His brother and his brother's girlfriend, who they were expecting a baby, were going to be in the studio, rent out the studio, and then we would take over the main portion of the house, the 3-bedroom, for us, our daughter, and any future child we might have had. That was the original plan before we broke up in February. His mom had moved out and was staying in her own apartment. But at this point, now that he's no longer staying at the mother's house, he's not paying bills over there. So his mom is now paying the bills in that house and the bills in the apartment that she's staying in. So she kind of reached out and was just like, hey, what's going on with this whole Connie situation? Because she's actively staying in the house. Y'all are not together. She's not paying any bills over there. We need to figure some things out. We let her know we had a plan already. We discussed it with her time frame to move out. And, we were giving her time because, we're not just putting somebody out on the street, like baby or no baby, like, So we let her know, like, we spoke to her already about a month ago to, like, map this whole thing out. Cool. But because Mom mentioned it, I took it upon myself to go look up some places within a reasonable price range and that were near her job, because I know where her job is. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to help you out. Keep all of this in mind. So I found these places and stuff, blah, blah, blah. I sent it to him so he could send it to her, because currently, and still actually up until now, 2026, she and I have never had any direct conversations. But, well, that she knows of. We'll get to that, though. So, yeah, I sent them stuff to him so he could send it to her. Hey, here's some apartments. Oh, you're effing deplorable. You're really going to put me out while I'm pregnant and carrying your baby. You are a monster. You're the worst kind of person I've ever met. I'm so confused, because we told you a month ago that you were going to be having to leave in a few months. And now I'm assisting you by sending you places. So all the threats continued, all the disrespect continued, and she's talking out of her mouth. So I told him, go get your car. She's not going to continue to treat you like you did something wrong when you've been handling this better than the next man would have. Because another dude would have just broke up with her and you got to go. But you've been handling this like so much better than anybody else. Like, no, she's not going to keep talking you crazy. Go get your car. We had 2 keys to the car. He went and picked his car up. She stopped him from going to the appointment that we were waiting for. The appointment that was going to tell us everything about whether she was actually pregnant or not. It was very frustrating. Because, like I said, that appointment was the appointment of all appointments. It was going to tell us everything we needed to know about, do we still need to deal with you or not? Like, are you actually still pregnant? Or are you pregnant to begin with? Like, what is going on? It was everything we needed for clarity. And I think on some level she knew that. And that's why she told him that she didn't want him to come to the appointment, nor did she tell him what the date was, time, location, things of that nature. So we couldn't go to that appointment. The excuse she used was, you don't want this baby, you don't want to be a part of this baby's life, because he never said that. So, and the way you're treating this baby's mom and all this other stuff, so I don't think you need to be involved in this, the appointments and stuff. Okay. Fast forward to move out day. She left the house, I think it was on Halloween. I actually think it was October, like the end of October, last day of October, or the day before Halloween. No, it was Halloween because we were out trick-or-treating when his brother texted him to say, hey, I think Connie's left. And he had like wrote him back, was like she left, like for good. She packed up and moved out. She then texted him again, more disrespectful things. He's all types of this and that and everything else. And then she sent him a picture. And it was a picture of an ultrasound and a best dad ever cup that oddly my daughter gave him years back. So I don't know if she found it in the stuff that he had packed up when he left my house and just decided, for fun, I'm going to put this here and put the keys on top. So she left the best dad ever cup on top of the ultrasound and the keys and sent him a picture. My mom has 10 kids. I have a daughter of my own. That ultrasound didn't show no baby to me. And at this point, you would be about 3 months pregnant, right? 2, 3 months pregnant. Something, a sack, something. You don't see anything in this ultrasound. But okay, I left it alone. That was what I kept telling him. But of course, he still wants to okay, just keep the option open. Right now, we're just kind of chasing little crumbs. We don't really know that she is or isn't pregnant. There are a lot of things that are telling me in my gut that she's not, but so whatever. That was the last day of October. The ultrasound was dated for October 25th of 2023. We didn't hear from her for a little over a whole month. My husband's mom started having some mental health issues, and she was checked into a psychiatric hospital. This was in November. So we went to go see her. And during the visit, she tells my husband, you don't have to worry about Connie anymore. Because apparently Connie was never pregnant with your baby. She was pregnant with his mom's boyfriend's baby. And the mom's boyfriend's side chick was also pregnant. And when Connie came to talk to him about it or whatever the case might have been, I don't know, but the side chick shot her and she's unalived. When my husband, I didn't go into the visit. So when my husband came out to the car, he's like, we're turning off phones and everything because at this point we think we're privy to a murder. He's like, I got to tell you what Ma just told me. Granted, this is before we realized that she was having mental health issues and stuff at the time. So we had no choice but to believe it. We hadn't heard from her since she moved out. It was a month ago. At first, I just figured maybe she was done playing the I'm pregnant with your baby game and she went about her business, moved on, got a new boyfriend, and is happy now, so she don't care to try to keep pinning this baby on him. This fake baby. I don't know. Could have been a real baby, maybe. We'll get there. But, so we believed her. And at this point, when I say, we really thought for a good duration of time that we were privy to a murder, we were we couldn't tell nobody nothing because what were we going to say? On his birthday in December, the very first thing he got to wake up to on his birthday, calculated, some might say, very calculated. Connie texted him. It's a girl, by the way, in case you wanted to know. Okay. So you're still pregnant. You're still, alive. Which is great, Okay. So here we go again. December of 2023. So at this point, she should be what? About 4 months pregnant? 4 or 5 months pregnant? Yeah, about 4 months pregnant. Okay. We're doing this. I even picked up clothes in a crib that I later gave to my sister-in-law. But she starts sending us videos of her knitting blankets. Oh my God, I'm knitting this blanket for the baby. And oh, it's coming out so cute, blah, blah, blah. She starts sending us videos of her shopping at Marshall's for the baby, different clothes. So now we received 2 videos of her shopping in the store for baby clothes. But I noticed she never sent us videos or anything of the clothes outside the store, because you'd be a little crazy to buy clothes for a baby you know that doesn't exist. But all the videos were still presently in the store. Now, anybody could easily go to a store and pick up baby clothes and be like, yeah, I'm buying this for my baby. But if you were sending us videos at home with this baby or clothes, it would be a little different. So that was the first kind of like, okay, a little odd. I said, look, we still don't know. Like, certain things are not adding up to me. We still don't know. And again, I'll admit, I told you guys earlier, it plays out in my favor if there's not an actual baby. So if anybody's going to try to prove that there's not an actual baby, oh, it's going to be me. Now, that don't mean that it's right, that I'm going to be correct. There may be a baby, in which case I have no control over that. But if there's not, we're going to stop playing these games with my baby. Like, not with my husband. So I told him she's high risk pregnancy. That's what she kept saying. She kept saying she was high risk. Tell her you want to go to the next doctor's appointment with her. Oh, I don't have any upcoming appointments. Who are you lying to? Me being pregnant, I'm in the doctor's office left and right. You being high risk, you should really be in the doctor's office left and right. There's no way you don't got no upcoming appointments. Come on now. Stuff is not adding up to me. So they're texting, I love that he was keeping me in the loop. He would tell me every time she texted and what it was, so that way there was a lot of transparency, because it's a sticky situation. We're dealing with a potential baby mom, we're engaged and we're trying to move on with our own lives and stuff. So it was a real sticky situation. But a lot of things she was saying and doing wasn't mapping out. Like, she would tell us, oh, well, because you decided that you were going to save me over the baby, I went to court and had documents drawn up that when I give birth, the baby will go into the custody of my brother and my sister-in-law. If something should happen to me, they would get custody of the baby. I'm not a lawyer, but you're telling me you had legal documents drawn up for an unborn child that has no social security number, no documentations, no nothing about this child? You had documents drawn up that said that when this child is born, they're going to go to not the father? Then she would just say random spiteful things like, oh, I decided I'm not going to give the baby your last name because I don't think you deserve that, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, baby, do you? Seriously. But then she messed up. Then she started sending us videos that didn't make any sense. And adding that to all the other things she would say that didn't make any sense. Me being me, I had no choice but to further look into things. So that's what I decided I was going to do. So one morning, she sends us a video of the baby's crib. And it's accompanied by a text, hey, I was just setting up the baby's nursery and, it's not fully done or whatever, but I did get the crib done. I was copying off of this thing I saw on Pinterest, and, I hope it came out nice and all sorts of stuff. Video of the crib. Maybe like an hour later, she sends another video. Now, this video is a full walkthrough of her new place. Literally, we're talking, she's walking us through the bathroom, she's walking us through the closets, she's walking us through her room, every part of this house she is walking us through, talking throughout the video. Like, hey, this is, this is here and this is here, this just leads to upstairs, this is this, giving us a full tour of her new place. She gets to the baby's room. And when she's in the baby's room, she simply says, oh, and the baby's crib is over there in that corner. And I'm sorry. Just a few moments ago, you sent us a video of the baby's crib. So why in this full walkthrough where you were showing us insides of closets?
Well, plus her crib in the corner, and then this is the rest of it.
Why did you not just show us the crib that you just sent us a video of this morning? She kind of brushed it off like, oh, it's over there behind the door. The crib's over there, And then this is this is the senator. No, 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 no. Another thing I noticed about these videos is the crib video is kind of like half screened. The top portion is black, the bottom portion is black, as if it was like screen recorded or something, or saved from like online. But the video of her walking around the entire apartment is a full screened video because she just recorded it off her phone. So I gotta look at these now. Mind you, the crib video was also like 3 seconds long. It was a real quick bloop. So I'm zooming in. And I noticed that the borders on the floor of the crib video are brown. All the borders in that entire apartment, but more importantly, the baby's room that you showed us, are white. That's not the same room. But I'm nitpicking. So I'll look a little further. The panels on the floor of the crib video are also brown, like a dark brown. But they're going vertically alongside the crib. Crib is here, panels are right beside it, going vertically. Based on the video you just sent us of the baby's room, where the crib would be, right behind the door. Also, you don't see that door in the crib's video. But based on the video you sent of the house and the crib being behind the door, the panels would not be going vertically along the crib. They'd be going horizontally through the crib. The panels of the wooden panels of the floor. That's not the same room. So you don't have this crib in this room that you just showed us. So now at this point, I'm like, no. She sends another video. She was videoed up this day. The next video she sends is a video of a gift. It's wrapped up, but she opens it a little to show the top. And she says in the video, oh, this is from whoever, her sister-in-law, I don't know. It's a gift for the baby's room. It's like a big wooden elephant thing.
It's like a big elephant piece to put on the wall.
So I snipped that video and I scanned the barcode on Google. Now, this is my first time ever attempting to scan a barcode anywhere, so I didn't know if this was actually going to work or not. But when I scanned it on Google, it came up with these kitchen cabinets, like a cabinet type counter thing. And I don't know if that was valid or not because I've never scanned a barcode on the web. Like, for all I know, this is not, even linked to this barcode. So I went a step further and I looked at the item ID number on the box. And I typed that into Google. And the same kitchen cabinets popped up. So this little gift thing that so-and-so got for the alleged baby is not a wooden elephant thing for her room. It's kitchen counters. At that point, I'm like, no. Because, come on. We're not going to keep playing these games. I can't actually say how, but just know that it was later verified for a fact that she was diagnosed with a miscarriage on October 25th. And the ultrasound that she left back at the house was an ultrasound of her fibroids. I've been in situations where seen situations I've been in, but where if you've taken a pregnancy test and it says you're pregnant, when you go to the doctors, if they can't confirm it on their end and then there's excessive bleeding, they kind of have no choice but to say you've miscarried. Whether they, confirm pregnancy or not, it's kind of just like the end point. Like, okay, there's no way to say you are pregnant, but you say you took a test and it came out pregnant. So at this point, we're just going to say it's a miscarriage. So I don't know if she was ever pregnant to begin with. She might have been, but as of October 25th, 2023, she was no longer pregnant. For a fact. Here we are in December, and you were sending us videos talking about making baby blankets for this baby, talking about buying clothes for this baby, saying it's a girl, all this stuff about going to courts and not giving it his name, and all this other stuff, and baby's room, and baby's gifts, but there's no baby. My husband sent her a text. I wish you and your family nothing but the best in all your future endeavors. Happy New Year, and blocked her. Because at this point, we already knew there was no baby and you're playing games with us. Which I kind of already had a feeling for a long time anyway, but, we just needed to get confirmation. We didn't hear from her until, I think it was March 11th of 2024, when she sends us a screen recording of, I guess, a post that she put on her Instagram story. Now, here's my thing. One, I don't know why the screen recording is blurry. If this is your video that you posted for your social media, why wouldn't you just send us the picture? Why send us a screen recording of a post you made? One, you wanted us to read what you wrote, and nobody cared. Because there you go again, talking about some he wished death on your baby, which never happened. But if I just had a baby and I'm trying to convince you that I actively had a baby, I promise you, when I'm in the hospital, fresh out of giving labor, I'm holding this baby and I'm taking pictures. Like, you see me and my baby, right? Because you thought I was lying. We ain't get none of that. Anything. The baby in the freaking, like, hospital. It just, why are you sending a screen recording of a baby in the hospital from your Instagram post? Where are your direct pictures and posts, like, that you took on your phone? Why would you send us a screen recording of my thoughts? I don't know where she got the video from, but wherever she got the video from is blurry. So she probably screen recorded it off of something off the internet, posted it, put her little words and stuff on it, and then probably made it so that nobody could see that post the way I did back when I was making those posts for just him. And screen recorded that and then sent it to us, and then probably deleted the post. So that's another thing to keep in mind. She's not very active on social media at all. She didn't have a Facebook, and she rarely ever posted on Instagram, like, ever. Like, during this whole time that all of this stuff is happening, from when me and him got back together at the end of August up until December, she hadn't posted anything. Also, by the time this post came in March of 2024, he and I had gotten married officially. So, yeah, guys, congratulations. Thank you. We had already known for a fact in 2023 there was no baby. So we ignored it. But I continued to, like, look out on her social media to see if any post of, you just had your first baby. Eventually you're going to post something, right? Because if you're not just playing this story just for the two of me and him, if this is like a real life thing for the world, other people would be talking about your baby. Your brothers, their girlfriends, somebody, right? I'm looking on everybody's social media. Ain't nobody said nothing about you having no baby. Okay. But some people don't post their baby. Some people try to Kylie Jenner the situation. They want to wait until the baby's 1 year old. So I came back March 11th that she told us she had the baby on March 3rd. So coming near March 3rd, I went back. There's a baby. Now, I know what you're thinking. And bear with me. We're getting there. But she posted 2 pictures of a baby on her Instagram. Beautiful baby. This baby looks really small. Like she's only a few months old. But the baby has the same name as the baby she sent in that screen recording from last year. So I know it's supposed to be the same baby that she told us she gave birth to on March 3rd last year as the baby that's in these pictures. So it's possible that, these are just old photos that she just posted. Because, again, this is the first post that she's made in almost a year. Actually, over a year. This is the first post she's made in over a year. So maybe they're just old pictures and she's just playing catch up, starting at the beginning, working her way up to this almost 1-year-old child. Because this baby should be turning 1 in like a week. Threads became a thing. And I noticed she has a Threads. Now, I don't know if you guys know how Threads works, but Threads was invented for nosy people or inquisitive people like myself that are doing investigations. On Threads, you can not only see, depending on the person's settings, you can not only see what they post on their own page, but you could also see their replies to other people's posts. Anything that they post on anybody else's posts, you can see. So she wasn't really posting too much on her own threads, but in her replies, she was posting pictures of the baby to other people, random people that would just say things like, hey, girl moms, show us your babies, things like that. And she would post pictures of the babies. So I kind of searched throughout to see if I seen anything that implied an age, how old this baby is, just anything. So far, everything is just general, this is the baby, this is the baby's name, stuff like that. But nothing about the baby's age. And I noticed that after a while of me doing my random searches, I suddenly couldn't see her account anymore. But my friend's page still could. So she must have, I don't know, seen me somewhere and blocked me. That's fine. She didn't block my friend, though. So I hit her up. I remember when I said we have spoken, but she didn't know that we've spoken. Yeah. I hit her up from my friend's account. And I commented on one of the pictures of the baby. She's adorable. How old is she? Because, I've been trying to get an age. Now, this is March 1st. This baby has the same name as the baby she told us she gave birth to March 3rd. Here we are, a year later, March 1st. This baby should be turning 1 in 2 days. And she replies to this stranger's account and says, oh, she just turned 3 months on Sunday. So I looked at Sunday. Sunday was February 23rd, which means 3 months ago was November 23rd. So your daughter was born November 23rd, which means there is literally no way that is my husband's baby at all. When I really think about it, that means that around the time she probably hit us up on March 11th to tell us that she gave birth to his baby was probably around the time she found out she was actually pregnant with whoever's baby. So at that point, I didn't really need any further clarification because, like I said, we had already known in 2023 that there was no baby. But this was just further clarification, and I even pushed it a little bit further just to make sure I was reading it right. And I said, oh my God, that would make her a Sagittarius, right? And she's like, yes, I'm a Sag too. Oh, cool. Okay. Your baby's not a Sag if she was born in March. Okay. So if there was anything else we needed to prove that we knew she did have a baby, congratulations, but it wasn't my husband's baby. And what throws me is that, that. What is, I can't make sense of it. Nonetheless, life continued. We ended up having our own baby girl, and she'll be 1 soon. Things have been going great. And the only reason I bring this story up now is because she's returned. Maybe if we would have told her years ago that we knew she was lying, we wouldn't have to still keep dealing with the lies. But she reached out a few days ago. I don't know if you remember earlier in my story, I had mentioned that his mom 3 years ago was going through some mental health issues. They were drug induced. So obviously that was 3 years ago, so you could only imagine what the state might be now. But that's a completely different story. But she reached out, Connie, because she saw his mom. And she left him a voice note that pretty much said, I don't know if this is still your number, which I doubt because you've been trying to pin a whole baby on him for 3 years. I'm sure you still have his number. But I saw your mom a few weeks ago. Actually, it was like a month ago. So why are you hitting him up now? Whatever. I found your number on my iPad, and I just, she wasn't in a good state. She didn't look like she was in good state. Honestly, she kind of looked like she was on drugs, like she was a junkie. And I just figured maybe you didn't know, because I know you wouldn't just leave your mom in that kind of a, situation or whatever. And I I didn't stop to, like, help her out or anything because I had my daughter in the car and I didn't know what kind of state she would be in or how she would react. But I just wanted to let you know. He contemplated whether he should reply or not. I had my own thoughts, but he's an adult and he can make his own decisions. So he replied. And he told her, thank you, I appreciate you for letting me know. She's been having a hard time and stuff. She's got to figure it out. And that was it. She wrote back, said, no problem. Now, if that were the end of it, then I would say, yeah, it was a genuine, she just wanted to. But to me, it already seemed a little sketchy. I'm like, first off, it took you a month to reach out. What is it now that you all of a sudden, since you've seen her, apparently. 2, you made sure to mention that your daughter was in the car. Because if I hadn't actually done my investigative skills over the past few years, he wouldn't even know you had a daughter. But you wanted to make sure he did. I said, yeah, I don't know. I said, if she doesn't hit you up again within this week, then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a genuine, she just wanted to let you know about your mom. But if she reaches back out within the next week, no, this was just a means to get communication lines open because there's always an agenda with this very calculated woman. So I said, but that's my thoughts. But I could be wrong, It didn't take a week. Within 5 minutes of me saying that, another voice note came through. And I don't know if it ever crosses your mind or if you even care, but I know you thought I was lying back when I said I was having your baby, but I wasn't. She's beautiful. She's here. She's walking. She says a few words, and she's extraordinary. And she just turned 2 in March. If you want, I can send you pictures. And at that point, he decided, yeah, I'm not writing her back. I feel like this is going to be our last video, friends. But pretty much, I don't know why I felt the need to do it. I guess I just had fun doing it the first time, years ago. But I needed to just do something else. Find something else. Because why are you back? Still claiming that this baby's birthday is in March, when I already have known for the past year your daughter's birthday is November 23rd. Like, same first and middle name. Like, this is the whole same kid that you claim to have had in March that you really had in November. But I still needed to, I don't know. I wanted to go see if I could find something else. Because she deleted all the pictures she had ever posted. Those 2 that I told you I had seen before. Deleted. Those were gone. They were gone for a while now. All the posts that were on Threads, gone. Thank God I took the screenshots years ago when I did, because then I wouldn't have access to them now. Gone. She's been absent on social media yet again for a whole year. But I figured just because she doesn't post on social media doesn't mean other people don't. And I now know the baby's first, middle, and last name. So I searched the baby. And I found her godparents. Her godparents that posted a happy birthday post and video of the baby on her first birthday. Guess when it was dated? And then it really just makes me wonder, like, what if he had said, you know what, I want to be in her life. I want to raise my daughter, as he would if it were really his. Like, how would you swing that when you know that she was born in November, but you have him thinking that her birthday is in March? Like, I'm so confused on how she thought this whole thing was going to end. Like, you don't think he was ever going to see a birth certificate? Like, or nothing? Like, you thought we were just going to celebrate her birthday in March and then in November, what? Like, I don't, it's so weird to me. And it's like, I really can't even think about where people go when they concoct these ideas, because it's like, I just can't. I say all this to say, be safe out there. Like, we honestly were thankful for the split, because not only did we realize in that time what life was like without each other, in order to realize that we didn't want to live life without each other, but also the trauma and like pregnancy scare that then got intertwined into our love story was enough to really push us to the point of like, man, I don't want that to ever happen. And thank God it wasn't the situation, you know? So to avoid that ever being the situation, that's probably why we got married the following year. And then we had our baby the year after that. And things have been great with our girls. And y'all just be safe out here. Like we had literally just gotten over the last crazy obsessed ex for years. Y'all be safe.